There we go. Okay, so left-hand one was your after. The right-hand one was your original sort of setup there with the sort of the weight a bit more kind of 50-50. You can see on the left-hand one here now, there's definitely more kind of weight fixated on that left foot. That's going to help the club kind of come down, strike the ground a little bit more with a thump rather than that sort of scoop up in the air, okay? This right-hand one now, we'll watch it quickly and then sort of blank out the memory, okay? You can see the slide there with the knees and the hips, and now your low point's behind the ball. Then look at the arms sort of tucking up, and it's all very kind of like, it just looks very cramped and very tucked up and tight. And again, just an awkward kind of feeling with that swing and not much confidence. Now, in terms of the practice swing, still a bit slidey with the knees, but the hips starting to turn, the torso's going. Now as we come back, you can see the hands there before impact. Look at that movement through the golf ball. So this movement here now, the weight is shifting onto that left side. Just look at the difference in your arms there post-impact compared to that on the right. Very kind of like tucked up. Okay. Same sort of setup there again now. So the weight push into that left foot. Hips turning. Impact just about there. So your hands at this point, even though they felt your hands were way in front, this is the one that went just a bit to the left. There's your hands there. Wow. And there's the club. So you're probably like 0.001 degree ahead. Anything, if your angle of your club is leaning back this way, it's going to go left or on the ground because the club head has overtaken the hand. You've basically got this sort of finish line here on your left side and you want the hands to win that. Well, the club's going to travel a lot quicker than your hands. If the hands are only just there at impact, the next frame now, your hands are kind of on that blue line, but the club now is gone past your hands, okay? So the feeling of keeping everything sort of in front there. This strike was good. As you can see, the ball went up in the air nicely because your hands just like a dead heat kind of thing. But you don't want to be playing golf on that literal fine margin of it's got to be dead perfect or it's just going to be going way left on the ground, okay? But at least as you come through, there was a bit more turn and twist through there. Your arms don't look so kind of tucked up. There's a bit more kind of extension there with your arms. I mean, just your arms there now kind of a bit more out there rather than kind of tucked up in here too much. I think grip pressure, you said yourself, you can see you gripping on for dear life because you know the wrists break down. And I think in your mind, if I grip it tighter, they just won't break down. But then if they get so tight, exactly. The tension kind of builds up. Okay, so if we can loosen up that grip pressure, because we want the wrist to kind of hinge on the way back to some extent, because then it's going to keep the club kind of behind the hands. If we go back and we're locking, the hands go back and we have that sort of dragging. So when we did some of the drills there, we sort of go through these now. When you had that drill with the golf club on the ground there, if the wrist hinge here correctly and that right wrist sort of hinges back, the club's going to go above that club on the ground. But when you went back, you dragged the arms back here and this club went dump, hit the club on the ground because you kind of went this way. So now you're almost creating this angle we want to try and avoid. Increase the angle the other way on the way back. Now you've got plenty of space. It's almost like you're giving your hands a head start. If we look at where you got to on this left-hand one there now, as you go back, there's your right arm, and you see the club head is kind of there. So your right arm is kind of, I guess, 20 degrees ahead, coming back down of the club, okay? But if you were to go back the other way and drag your handle, so at this position, the club was kind of down here, you're already behind the handle of the club, and the head's just going to scoop. And if you strike it well, have a good lie, or just happen to get a good strike because you're a quality golfer, you'll go left, okay? Or more often than not, you hit the ground behind the golf ball, or you hit up on the ball, and you just thin it on the ground as like a rocket. And then your 40-yard swing goes 10 yards or 60 yards. Yep. And then you're just scared of what to do. It's like, well, okay, I know I got to hit the ground, but hitting the ground behind the ball is no good. So practice as much as you can with that club outside your right foot. And again, without the border style, just hitting the ground where the ball would be. Maybe put some different objects on the ground here now and start trying to hit different things by just moving your body. So you become more aware of you and the club, how you can change your impact spot. So you become more aware of where the ground is here, where the ground is there and there, not just here's the ball and flick at it. So it becomes the situation almost that you can't not hit the ground. That's kind of what you want to get to, a situation where you're at. So when you're playing these shots here now, hitting the ground's a given. I hit the ground, and then I can just set for the shot. And then you're thinking then, okay, I'm hitting this club, that club, aiming there, not gripping on for dear life, going, don't slide, don't scoop, don't panic, don't go wrong.
Not a natural, but
well, it will do. Exactly. And it will. And I think in terms of your long game, if you're hitting the golf ball now, you would kind of want your hands to be there at impact. And there's impact. So in terms of actual, it's like a 300th of a second. It's a very small amount of difference between where you want your hands to be and where they are. But if you're hitting the golf ball with your hands literally on top of the golf ball there now, it's such a fine margin, say, of being a miss hit. it's too risky.
Yeah.
If you get a little bit of tension, exactly. Yeah. If the hands get a little bit too tight and aren't able to move through, the club's going to carry on just as fast as normal. It overtakes a split second, and the second your hands lose that race, it's thin and low. So really got to feel. Again, you can almost do some swings up against the wall there, where you kind of hear and think, okay, my hands are going to get to the wall there before that club.
Yes.
If I do this.
Yes.
It's going to win the race with the club. So just almost get against the wall, just hit some shots there, or some small swings. Just hit the back of your left hand into the wall there. Exactly, yes. It'll make you grip nice and loose and smoke. Yeah. But again, to start with, do some really small swings up against that wall. Yeah, it's just purely a feeling. Dragging the club, that one we talked about before, where you sort of start with the club kind of back here from your hands at the original sort of setup position there. So your hands are there. Maybe for the back, and then just drag the club on the mat and really start pushing the ground. You want to feel hear the sound of kind of a good scrape, and I think this sound here almost scares you. This sort of thump in the ground. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen if I hit the ground that hard? It's going to be a real duff. And it's almost like, I'll just try and just miss the ground, or just clip a little bit of ground and hope for the best.
It's still sort of rising up to make it up in the air.
Please go up in the air. Yeah, let's throw up in the air and do that. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get that stage of again the hand winning the race and that club striking down, these pitch shots will be far more effective. And like I say, if you can then say now for the next, I don't know, month or so, you'll practice these sort of, just practice, any practice you do is just 40, 50 yard shots to the point where you can come on and say, okay, right, I'll hit 10 shots, I hit the green 6 out of 7 times. At the moment now it's probably 1 or 2. To make it a 6 or 7, that's a massive progression. Turn out to the golf course, anytime you get sort of like 40, 50 yards from the green, you go, well, okay, I'm going to likely hit the green with this shot. If I can then 2-putt, I'm taking 3 shots, not 4 or 5 or whatever it might be. There's nothing more frustrating. If you get 2 of your best, say on the first on the button, you get a career drive up towards the 150 and a lovely 3-wood up by the green, and you walk off like an 8 or a 9. Oh, for God's sake, I just kicked it on there. Isn't it? And that's because in your mind, these shots should be easier. They don't require balance or flexibility or power or speed because the ball's not going that far. It's just getting that contact, getting that strike, and again, learning that feeling of what it is to hit the ground with the angle of the club this way, not this kind of scooping and lifting. Okie dokie.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Very, very